So you have FamFun, you have your other job, your permanent full-time.
Yes.
How do you manage both of those things simultaneously?
It really is a balancing act, and thankfully, I've had enough experience to learn how to juggle both. The beauty about FunFest is that it's seasonal events that we do, and we pretty much developed a blueprint for it, so it can operate on autopilot. But balancing the priorities for my 9 to 5 is critical, ensuring that I get those responsibilities out the way, so that when I go home in the evening, I can spend time with my family, and also, you know, a couple hours before I go to bed, I focus on the plans for FunFest.
So for FamFun, did you have any difficulties or challenges getting that off the ground?
Girl, yes, because you know, you have this grand idea, and you have these big plans and big dreams that you want to fulfill. And I think the biggest challenge and blow for me is when I shared those dreams and ideas with close friends who, you know, they were less than supportive. I remember there was one person that I spoke to that I considered her an expert for a particular area that I wanted to do at the event, and her response to me was, well, why are you doing that? Why are you starting so big? And why don't you do something smaller? Why are you looking to do something entertainment based? And I felt discouraged, and I remember speaking to my spouse at the time, who he said, you know what, as a matter of fact, you shouldn't feel discouraged. If anything, that should challenge you and motivate you to do it, to show, not her, but I mean yourself, that, you know, despite the challenges and the naysayers, that it was possible. And sharing the dream and having persons understand what that dream is and the importance of it and willing to invest in it was also a big challenge. So for us, my business partner and I, we had to put up our money, our own money. And I can honestly say that the first event didn't even break even, but the joys that we saw on the families' faces, the feedback that we got from parents that came out, from kids that came out, it was so overwhelming that we were committed to this thing. We knew that even though the first event didn't work out, we know that there was potential for it, and so it made us even more resilient to go out there and do it much bigger, much better, to invest in it as something that not only is beneficial to us, but it's also something that contributes positively to the family structure in Jamaica.
And I would imagine that today we are not just breaking even, but you're making a profit from this as well, yes?
I would say that today we're blessed. Yes, we're blessed.
I love that. Okay, and what advice would you have for people who are in a 9 to 5 and balancing some kind of entrepreneurial activity?
I would say first and foremost, you have an obligation to the company that you work for, and there is an expectation that you will deliver. It should never be a case where the projects that you're working on outside compromises the level of work or the quality of work that you provide to your employer. So first and foremost, be disciplined about your work, be honest about the things that you're doing as well, and ensure that there's no conflict of interest. It's also important for you to learn to balance, so ensuring that your objectives are being met, but then also spend the time to plan for the other activities that you need to get done. And it is possible, and I would encourage young professionals to challenge themselves to do more. You know, there's a lot that can be done, and there's no limit to how many roles you can play, but it's just for you to find your niche and find what you're good at and do it well.
What personal or professional goals you set or have for yourself?
Professional, from a global directory standpoint, I see global directories really being #1 in search in the Caribbean. I also see us rolling out a very effective and sustainable corporate social responsibility program regionally that will not only impact the environment within which you operate, it will impact communities and also impact government and the wider communities. So I see that as, our ultimate goal. I think big things are ahead for that company. From a personal standpoint, in terms of FunFest, FunFest, we're doing our first event in Ocherius. This is going to be our 10th staging, and our dream is really for it to become Caribbean and international brand.
So you're also a mentor. It's at UTech, I think. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm a mentor for students at UTech through their mentorship program. I remember when I was a little bit younger and in my professional career, I really admired certain professional women. Heather Shields is one. Just her professionalism, her zeal, her flair, her style is one that I really admired. I learned so much from her, and I think my ability to grow was through that experience. And so when I was approached to be a mentor at UTech, you know, I readily took up the opportunity because I think it's important for us to not only receive, but to give.
Well, I love that, Tshani. I love that you've been able to use your experience to give back to the students. That's really amazing. Oh, this is fantastic. Perfect timing. Thank you very much.
All right. Bon appetit.
Well, Tshani, I could not have asked for a better day out with you. I enjoyed every single part of today, the face paste, the massage, oh my gosh. We got mani-pedis and the food here is incredible.
It was.
So thank you very much for sharing your multiple chill spots with us.
And thank you so much for having me on the show. I really had a great day. This is like my perfect Saturday.